Hello, everybody. Welcome to Roll or Troll. My name is Wade Acuff, and I know I say this a lot, but today we do have a very special version of Roll or Troll. We're going to be dipping our toe into a little bit of Middle Earth. I have to explain a little bit, okay, and I am a little biased. I'll get into all of this, but first, let me say hello to chat. What's up, chat? Let's see what we got here. Yep, Clever saying my precious. So some people already know what we're going to be up to. That's amazing. There is no starting poll. If you're a regular here, usually we have a starting poll ready to go. What's up, Jack? Also saying hi over on Behance. We're also on Behance and on YouTube. Also, I didn't do this last week, but we may get into a little Discord action at some point. So if you're not already signed up on our Roller Troll Discord or Adobe Live Discord, then you might miss out on some opportunities for some fun today. Did someone say Lord of the Rings 25th anniversary? Exactly. So just to refresh, my bias is I did work on Return of the King, but going into that, and that's what more of this is about, I was already a huge fan of the Fellowship. And this is all about concepting and just kind of exploring that world from a concept design standpoint. And I want to give us a little bit of a basis. If you guys are not familiar or you want to familiarize yourself with the art of these things, I've got something for you. Go find these books. I'll go through them here real quick. This is my personal taste in like looking up film work, mostly from the artist's perspective. Let's go and see. Okay, so yeah, we have a Lord of the Rings sketchbook by Alan Lee. Amazing. Definitely check this one out. Tons of sketches and stuff just from Alan Lee. There's so many artists that work, but Alan Lee already had a backlog of Tolkien art. So there's that one. And then, of course, these, you've probably seen these before. We have a art of the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship, and then Two Towers, and Return of the King. And these two were already out when I was there. So let's see, I have, this one is a little bit more special. It is signed by several people. There's Richard Taylor. If you've ever heard Richard Taylor talk, it's like, I don't know if he would think this, but ASMR, humanized, just to listen to him talk. We've got Alan Lee in this one, but look at the little Weta stamp. Isn't that cool? Anyway, get these books. They also have tons of artwork and drawings from multiple people. I'm not going to thumb through these too much, but just to give you an idea. So today is about kind of paying homage a little bit to this. It's more of a like, hey, if we were to explore it further, what could happen? But that being said, we only have 2 hours. And you guys are going to help me make all these choices. So we should probably get started fairly soon. As in right now, but I have to explain how this works for those of you that don't know. We take a 20-sided die and we roll it, and then that will take us over to our key, which we already have up. This one is titled One Ring to Troll Them All, and we're not really going to do much trolling today. Not really. Most of the options are just this or that options. Not really a good or bad, though I will say the higher numbers are a little bit more, if we roll high, they're a little bit more rewarding in my opinion. What's up, Bacon Bits? How's it going? I see Umacorn has showed up. Oliver is here. Guys, let's get started, shall we? Let's start with a roll. All right, we're going into... Oh, no, wait. Ooh, that was close. We have to have ambiance. Oh, no. Hold on. Hold, please. Okay, now we can roll. Had to get the ambiance going, so let's see what's up. Okay, first roll. Whoa. Is a 12. Oh, we still have our dice cam on. Hold on. We are supposed to have the dice cam on. No jail time just yet. It's a 12. We missed the roll, but I promise you it's a 12. We got to get started. I can't. The technical difficulties aside. Not the wrong button. I just hadn't prepped the dice with all the ambiance. Okay, so we've got a 12. Let's go check it out. Also in the Discord, you know what? I'm going to pull up the Discord so that I can see it as well. At least that's the plan. And if you guys want to, if you have any favorite Lord of the Rings-esque moments, you know, feel free to drop them in the Roller Troll Discord. I'm going to pull it up so I can see it. Okay, perfect. Starting with show and tell. Yeah, thanks. Okay, what was it? 12. Okay, first option for 12. Should probably have these on. They will do it like this. Argonauts welcome. If you remember the two statues that are standing as they paddle boat their way in. Definitely a memorable moment, I think, in Fellowship. And then I just thought some Numenorian, in general, some Numenorian ruins. If you remember, if you recall, like when they're around, I think it's the Amen Hen, I think that's what it's called. I'm going to get all of these wrong, by the way. I'm just now getting back into what all of these things are called. The lore I've not dipped my toe into it for a while. But there's some ruins kind of hanging around in the forest, and I thought it'd be fun to make up something like that. So while that's going, what should we sketch? And honestly, I have not done any warm-ups today, which is, kind of scary going into a live stream. So let's see what we can do. And I will be looking up some reference for some of these things, but since we're not, it mostly will be a reference point. It will not be like, oh, we're doing a thing, and just copying. That's not the plan. Let's see. We'll see what happens. And I am going to switch off between painting and drawing and all kinds of things. So I don't know where we're going to go with some of these. I do plan on slowing the roll a bit. Ding dang roll troll interns pressing buttons. I know. Come on. Get it together, guys. Jeez. What are you thinking? Hey, what's up, Maddie? How's it going? I'm just sketching and warming up whilst you guys vote. Ooh, I like that Numenorian ruins are winning. And yes, please ignore whatever that is that's going on and off in my background. I've yet to track down what driver that is. Surprising. Any guesses at what this creature is? Potentially. I'm going to end this roll real quick. If you had any other questions, obviously you want to shout out the questions while we're just sketching today. Or, oh, this is the other thing I wanted to mention. Feel free to drop suggestions. Feel free to drop suggestions all throughout. If there's a special Lord of the Rings moment that you're like, this one's always overlooked. Obviously, there's tons of memes. One does not simply do a Lord of the Rings stream without there being memes. So, you know, try to avoid the meme part of this if possible. But everything else should be fair game. It's kind of a golem. Maybe it's another version. I don't know. Oh, what is let's see. This is what Jack looks like when they see a donut. Fascinating. Simply fascinating. Okay. I think we're going to end this. It looks like whoa, we can't end it. Come on. Okay. All you Numenorian fans out there, please. I think that is the everlasting troll of Roller Troll, is inevitably always a tie. No matter what. Can't deny it. Gotta tie it. What's up, Peter Bex? How's it going? I can't do anything about a tie. I have an ongoing rule here that I do not jump in and tie break. So if you guys want to see me still struggle on this Golem-y creature, you know, you can we could do this. I can do this all day. I can do this all day. Probably won't, but I could. One does not simply not go for the memes. I hear you. I hear you. It's just low-hanging fruit, right? The memes, that is. And so by the end of the day, what I'm hoping is we'll have tons of little sketches and little things that, you know, we can explore all sorts of different little avenues. That's why I say, if you have something you want to shout out, feel free. You have extra accounts, so it's you. We found out. Okay, Oliver has outed themselves as the one that keeps tying all the polls. Fantastic. You're doing a real, it's a real service. And we've got nobody voting. Okay. Well, welcome to today's Golem Sketches stream. Yeah, the Battle of Amen Hen. I mean, that's, you know, that's where a lot of those Numenorian ruins show up in the film. Okay, Golem sketch number 2. Let's go. I don't think I have. Let me see. I may have. Since we're just waiting till somebody. Okay, we broke the tie. Thanks so much. I was about to show you guys some pictures because I had nothing else to do. I don't have that picture of Gollum. However, let's get on to these ruins, shall we? I don't know what should the ruin be? So we see Argonath, the Argonath's welcome type of ruin. Oh yeah, end that poll. End it quickly. Love to see the actual skull of Gollum. You could actually kind of interpret where the skull would be. What kind of ruins do we do here, though? Untied. I love, maybe we do a different version of that, maybe like another head that's sunken into the ground. but we only see, maybe we see a ruined pub still serving. Well, now serving. I'm going to do a helmed half head, much like we see in the film, but I'm going to break it before the nose, or before the mouth. It'd be really fun to go find an actual landscape to tie this to. Like do like a plein air thing and go out and find. Oh, I guess we could. You know what? Why don't we do this instead? Because this is kind of what we already have in the film. Let's just work on. I'm going to do something that's columned, potentially, with the sculptures kind of built into it. I still like that silhouette of a hill, like a side of a hill. I'm going to check the clock. I'm going to give ourselves 10 minutes-ish. And do one of these as if it's kind of falling out. And so the other part of this is, like, anytime that you see the designs of anything you see in Middle Earth, there's already a kind of a look and a what the reference is usually a show, like a Bible, like a look Bible, a look book. So you have reference to what things will look like, and that's mostly by, you know, director and artists coming together and making, you know, what that's going to look like throughout. So there's a language that gets built up. We're going to look at some of that language. I will look up Numenor Ruin from the film, but I do want to stray from it as much as possible. And still kind of have it be familiar. Somewhat. And that is another thing with all of these films. Just the idea that the amount of artistry and everything that goes into it is just so amazing. Big fan of all the behind the scenes stuff as well. If you ever watch those things, they'll have a lot of information on how they do some of this. And I think maybe this was the top, and we could have maybe a figure silhouetted. Maybe a robed figure. Pull this down a little bit just so we can see it. They do a lot of repeating motifs as well. So maybe we have one there, but then there's one also facing. All right, we got about 6 minutes to left to kind of work on this. Just going to hit some of where these shadows, hardened shadow, darker, deeper shadows might be. Maybe you see the other side of this. It is broken. I mean, obviously you're doing something like this, you're not giving yourself 10 minutes to do it. And I did say we'll give ourselves 10 minutes, but that doesn't mean that's all we have to give it if it really starts to click. In fact, I let Jack know that earlier on, that like, hey, we may go over on some of these, but roughly the idea is to have about 10 minutes to work on this. So I like the idea of a row of these kind of figures, and then like, of course, one's going to be broken off. Hey, what's up, Frank? How's it going? Is that a weird request? No, that is not a weird request. And since we can attempt that in the interim, because I'm gonna probably stop this here in a few minutes, but I need to start a new roll so we can sort of keep this still going. I'm kind of looking at some of these things, and there are a lot of like almost Gothic, but their version of Elven. Columns, I guess. I don't know, the little shape, this little Gothic shape. Hey, what's up, Annika? How's it going? Maybe add a few ghost style silhouettes of columns in the back. Also broken. Just columns. We could spend a ton of time adding cracks and all sorts of things. Which, if I were doing this, giving this any full like attention that it would need, that's what I would do. All right, let's get another roll going. I mean, we might look at Gollum's skull. All right, maybe we'll actually see the roll this time. Let's see. Another 12. I'm not gonna put it into the dice jail yet. I'm gonna give it another chance. Come on, no 12s. 19. Oh man, rolling high. All right, let's check out what 19 has. We'll get back to that as we get this poll going. Elendil's Shards, you may know it as the Shards of Narsil, or Flame of the West, which is the reforged Shards of Narsil, also known as Andril. Now, I won't be just copying this. I'll kind of play around with it. But you guys will either do the broken sword of the king, or we'll do the reforged version of it. Let me go ahead and select this so that I remember what's happening in my notes. Okay. Oh, and just if you see me call for a troll toll, that's when we'll use Discord, and you guys will hop over into Discord and give me a suggestion, and then I will check it out. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to say I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna see if I have that Gollum still pulled up. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna look at this reference. All right, I'm gonna try just to do the skull here. And for any of those that maybe have seen my Instagram from ages ago, I used to do this. I would sketch out. This was just for a better understanding of anatomy. I would sketch out the head. Just take any model I saw online, sketch out the head, get an idea of the forms that are underlying, and then after sketching, doing a quick face sketch, I would then try to imagine the skull underneath. So I have done this before. It's been ages. But we'll see how it goes. You know me, I'm usually pretty optimistic up until the point where I'm not. So I'm going to just do the sketch first while you guys are voting. And that poll is up. I just saw it pop up. I'll tell you what, though, Gollum is not lacking for some cheekbones. Does have kind of a small-ish chin, but a large mandible. Like the area between his nose and his mouth is fairly long. I need to make these eyes a little bit bigger, I think. Okay. No need for details here, just getting the basic shapes. And then I'll jump into the skull version of this, which is Gollum's pretty easy as far as the skull, I would think, because he's kind of already gaunt. So you already see where the sockets are. I mean, roughly. I'm gonna flip this around real quick. Okay, we're gonna have to start from here because I don't want to spend too much time. Hey, we're already at a tie. Excellent. Just as I had planned it. Falling right into my trap, chat. Okay, there's a little bit of soft skin there. I think I did not make his dome quite dome enough. And then he's got a little comb over. We'll give him a little comb over. Bring this ear down a little bit. This is Gollum as he's heading, he's trying to look nice for the One Ring, for his precious. Okay, let's try and make a skull out of this. It's not far off, so I'm gonna just grab this, pull this over. And the first thing I'm gonna do is get rid of our eyes, but retain where they are, socket wise. Because I would imagine it would be like this. Fairly large orbs. And you can kind of see if you look, I'm looking at reference right now, but if you ever look at, you can probably see it on me. If I tilt my head just right, wherever that light starts to cut in, that's the top of where the nose, and then you can kind of find where the cartilage is going to stop. And so that's going to give us this, assuming everything else is, you know, very Hobbit-like, but I don't know for sure what, if there's any different anatomy changes facially for, I'm assuming just a, you know, pared down, smaller version of a person. And then teeth on the skull. Same here. I'm going to chisel this chin out just a little bit. And then we've got these cheekbones, but they're going to be doing this sort of thing. Because you might have that hint of that jaw over there potentially. But it's just going to be a round shape for this that then cuts back into the jaw. And then back here, you're going to have a little gap. There's a lot more intricacies that you can go on here, but for what we're doing, I think this will be fine. Get rid of the brow lines, even though, and obviously the ears. But I was saying, even though you probably would still have, he's got a very pronounced forehead. Not pronounced, but long and sloping, kind of. It kind of keeps receding back. If I were to make this into a shape, you would kind of do this kind of thing. And the hard part of this is knowing the expression I have is making sure it's pretty expressionless. So skull wise, there's a little bit of a bone that kind of usually overlaps back here to that reconnects, and there's like a little gap in there. So was that Oliver? Oliver, did you ask for this? Is this what you asked for? So there's kind of a sculled version of Gollum, potentially. And you know, you could put your teeth in and maybe like remove one or two, depending on what, you know, if you're where you are in Smeagol's dental care. He probably has a little bit of a looking at the reference, his chin is a little bit smaller. And he probably has a little bit of a thing there. There you go. Oh, it was Peter. Okay, Peter, yes. There you go, Peter. I don't know if that gets you where you wanted to go with your request. I'll darken some of this in. There you go. Okay, and I think we have Flame of the West. So let's move on to that. You can end that poll, Jack. And I'm just going to go over and go ahead and select that so I'll remember that's what we're doing. And I'm probably going to focus on just the hilt, the handle, a little bit more. Now, again, this is where I was saying the bias. I love all of the work that went into this. And this is just a reimagining of this sort of thing. Gollum skull. And so that's kind of where I'm starting from. And I'm just going to pull up some reference as well. All right. And a roll. So fun fact, and I didn't know what we'd roll, but fun fact, the Weta offices, let me just, oh, sorry about that. The Weta digital offices were a lot of fun. One of the best times, definitely the best crew. Had tons of fun, but also it was a lot of work. And you know, in those kind of conditions, sometimes things get hectic and you have to let off some steam. And fortunately, I was able to do that in the best way possible. You know, sometimes people would lash out, and there would be situations like this where you get you know, differences. It's just differences happen when you're working. So you have to resolve those differences, and I happen to have Anduril available. This is the Flame of the West to defend myself. So there's a little look into that. And so also a little note, since we're talking about that, I did the digital version, the digital model version of that sword. Definitely a highlight of everything I've done. One of the highlights for sure. And that's what I'm going to start with today. With this sketch, I'm going to go ahead and look up that reference like I was talking about. I think I have, yeah, here we go. Here's one of the references. Here's a reference picture for that hilt. In fact, that's my reference. That's what I'm using. So I'm going to start, but we're going to explore some things. All right, let's explore some things. Can I put this window over here? I sure can. Thank you, Photoshop. Photoshop. Doing it right. Okay. And I'm only using the reference for probably the length of the hilt. I'm not saying what I'm about to do is going to be better or anything by any means, just different. And I think I want to add a little bit, maybe more elven influence. At least what I may say it would be as elven influence, how I interpret it. I am going to have I'm going to turn on our, let me redo that so you can see. We have a symmetry tool up here at the top. You can click this, you can turn it on vertically, horizontal, dual, blah, blah, blah. You can make some really fun stuff with it. Let's see if this doesn't crash my computer. Enter, you have to press enter. You can do all sorts of fun designs. I've used this multiple times for tiling. You know, like round, like if I wanted this to be a tiled floor, you know, I could make little shapes and then take that shape, press enter. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Turn that off. And then you can just use your transform tools to put it to whatever floor you want to do. You see this technique a lot with like just painting clouds and moving them around and giving them perspective. We're not going to do that today with the sword, but I just wanted to let you know there are other uses for the symmetry tool that make it super quick and fun for concepting. But I will empty this layer. And then turn it back on just vertically. Enter. You can also press Control H to hide, or Control Shift H. Wait, is that it? Control H, Control Shift H. Why is it not hiding? You can hide it by the, I thought you could do it with the general hide, like you can hide marquees or selections. But maybe you have to go to the tool. Anyway, I'm going to hide the symmetry, and I'm just going to start working something that we're going to call, maybe this will be the Flame of the East. I don't know. Just to not do any disrespect. So I kind of want to add like a leaf motif. Leaves. At least that's the way I'm thinking about this. Oh, let's start another roll because I'm gonna give myself. This might be one of the ones I go a little bit longer on, but I do want to get us going on another roll just in case. So let's do that. We'll get back to working on this. I need an automated ambiance. That's what I need. That's what I need. Okay. Get this roll. 14. Whoop. Okay, 14. Oh, a phial of light. It's a little vial. A phial of light. That's Galadriel's vial she gives to Frodo, I believe, in the films. In Limbus Bread, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. Do you want to see a little phial of light, or do you want to see some Limbus Bread? Either way, we're gonna kind of reimagine it. But let's get back to this. And I think maybe what I was going with here is leaves wrapping around, potentially. And, you know, you could, and we might do this. I always mention this anytime I start to work with anything symmetrical. You don't have to use the symmetry. And sometimes that makes for a much more interesting design. So I'm going to turn the symmetry off here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of our handle. Maybe a little leather wrapped detail. I'm going to turn it back on. I may turn it off in a moment. I've got a couple ideas that are brewing. I think I do want to do something maybe that is leaf based, but has some symmetry to it. You know what? Maybe that's where we'll start. So not asymmetry to it. Sorry. And I think maybe we'll wrap this pommel will be one of the things that is asymmetrical. You wouldn't really want necessarily sharp ends, but could come in handy. And maybe it wraps into it kind of envelops into the handle a little bit. The poll is up, by the way. The poll is up. And I may want to come over here with a little bit of a wrap as well. I like the idea of maybe there's a vine. And then our sword would probably come out like this. I'm not going to go through the detail of the sword. I just want to focus on our vine wrapping potentially. Probably some little greebles for some sort of elven magic. You know, as you do. Not a big fan of what's happening up here, to be honest. What if, let's try this again. What if they curl into a nice tight knot, but they're still, you know, leaves. And I'm thinking of these as like almost carving, like 2D, very flat, very, like all of this is round and it's just etched detail. Probably have that come over the top. That way it's more traditionally a pommel and can be used for balancing the weight of the blade. But I do want it to be a little bit asymmetric. Can even have the like tip of another leaf from around the back area potentially coming into play. Both sides. All right, I can get down with this. I'm gonna give it a little bit of shading. I'm gonna move over to my soft edge, hard edge brush. And I'm going to, let's see, make a copy of this layer. And then we'll add a little bit of basically front light self-shading to this. Just for a little bit of life, just for a little bit of life. A little bit of maybe being able to tell what areas are deeper than others. I'll work on that sword a bit in a moment. Because I think just graying this out is gonna be the way to go. Oh wow, no one wants the lembas bread. You know what? That's fine. It is very filling. All right. All right, I'm gonna give this just a little bit of fade out. Down this way. Hint of an edge, hint of a center. And I think if we're going to do that on one side, we probably have to do it on another. Where I'm going to have this be two leaves, two little leaves. A little off from each other, a little bit. Who doesn't like bread? Yeah, exactly. And I could definitely get lost in detailing all this stuff, but I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, it would be fun to come in here and really spend some time to make these look more leaf-like. All right, let's add a little bit of highlight, and then we'll move on to... Oh, Limbus Bread is now winning. Well, look at that. All right, all you bread makers, go ahead and end that poll. And all you bread makers, bakers. I don't know what to do with it. I thought it'd be fun, but now I don't know. So give me ideas. Like a leafy little, like when you bake it, there's a leaf imprint on the top. If that makes sense. All right, just gonna add some quick highlights. Just where I think it might catch the light a little bit. Again, mostly front lit. Something like that. Definitely would add a little bit more shading in these parts just to separate the things. You know, not too shabby. Maybe a little bit of a... Sure, why not? Okay. All right. Let's move on. Probably the least happiest with the top of this, but again, it's probably just the work that needs to go in designing it. That it's a little funky. It's not quite organic the way I want it to be. Possibly turning it around. I mean, it does kind of look like a little cabbage leaf. So maybe it's maybe that's what we've made. Instead of the Flame of the West, we made the, I don't know, the Cabbage of the West. Salad shredder. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leaf it. All right, moving on. Okay, let's end this. I think it was already ended, so Limbus bread, yum, yum yums. Let me go over and make sure we mark this in my notes. Nope, it's gotta be in red. Okay. You know what, while we're here, let's go ahead and start a new world. Yeah, the Hobbits united to come out and vote for Limbus bread. And then they ate too much, obviously. All right, let's check it out. What? A 2. A 2, you say? All right. 2. Cautiously covered. What could this be talking about? Or a dangerous tool. Not all of the Palantirs are accounted for. So yeah, this is a Palantir, not to be confused with the awful company. But I think it is the namesake. But either way, we're going to cover it, or we'll just reimagine it as it is. Basically a bowling ball that has a giant eye in it with smoke and stuff. We'll see. Hey, what's up, Ryan? How's it going? What's up, Sean? So that's what's going up in the poll right now. And we have to work on this limbus bread. Okay, so from what I remember, and I'm just going off of pure memory here, what I remember limbus bread was basically just a flat piece of hardtack or something that they actually in the book is described as being, I think, if I remember right, it was quite tasty, but it was just the fact that that's all they had for a while. You get tired of just about anything. So I think this was what it was in the book, and I like the, or in the movie, and I like the serviceable. You know, like it should be something simple, but what if it wasn't? But what if it wasn't? And it is wrapped in leaves, so what if it is also leaf shaped? Or wait, here we go. What if it is a bake? Here, I need to get a different angle. I'm gonna kind of imagine this from the top a little bit. What if it's baked, but the shape it has on the top is a leaf? Does that make sense? Remind you of a beignet? Oh yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I had not really thought that, but yeah, that kind of does. But I like the idea of maybe there's like a leaf shape on it. I'm not sure what that shape is, which is why I'm struggling here. How do leaves do? How do elven leaves do? Not like this. Not like this. But it could be anything. It didn't have to be one of the standard elven leaf shapes. Okay, I think that's what we'll do. I'm kind of making sure this is the form that I'm going with, so things kind of match up on the other side. Only sort of, kind of. Doesn't have to be super pointy, actually. Something maybe, I don't know, I don't mind this. This is not terrible. And I am just kind of making this up off of whatever, random leaves on the fly. Poll is up. Ooh, a dangerous tool. That one might be a little bit of this and that. All right, let's try it. Let's try and do something with this. Giving myself about we'll go a few more minutes on this. Okay. How would this be made? That's the other question. Is there lots of elven flower involved? And I'm going to attempt to paint this real quick so we can get a little bit of difference. A little bit of a difference in our two-toned colors, possibly. and you know, an attempt will be made. Probably a little crusty, a little more crusty around the thin edges, right? So maybe a little bit more of a brownish color. Overall brownish color. Bottom is probably a little bit lighter. I'm going to adjust this saturation quite a bit. We'll multiply that. Getting a little too orange, I think. I'm going to duplicate, but then I'm going to bring that layer opacity down and then Control E and merge that. And I can work with this, I think. I think I can work with this. Loaf. Leaf loaf. Can I interest you in a leaf loaf? Freshly baked. Straight from the ovens at Lothlorien. I'm going to hide that behind it. Or maybe this is the Rivendell version. This is the take-home Rivendell version of it. Love a good crispy. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to put a little bit of shine on this if I can. Just give it a little bit of texture. It's got a little egg wash glaze over the top. I believe that's what would do that. Correct me if I'm wrong, bread peoples. Probably will get carried away with it. And that glaze would still carry over to the edges. That sheen, because it's catching the same light, right? At least that's what I'm telling myself. That edge would catch some of this light. Let's see, what would this, maybe we put a little shadow. A little shadow. Should have done this on another layer, but we're here. A little bit of a fade off on this shadow. Maybe not. It may be a little bit of a harsher light. I don't know. Put a little bit of a darker area here. And look at that. We got a little Limbus loaf. It looks so good. I know. I want to make some bread now. You too can enjoy Limbus loaf at home. Just paint it in Photoshop. I mean, that's it. That's all you got to do. Do you think there would be some more texture unevenness necessarily? Not necessarily too, not really detail, but just enough to kind of push some of these edges where I want them to live. All right, good enough. Good enough. Wade without a hat. Oh no, guys, you're thinking about the wrong things. We're focusing on Lord of the Rings stuff today. Okay. And I'm gonna name this a Limbus. I should have put it on. We don't have time. We got to move on. I mean, we don't have to move on, but let's move on. And moving on, of course, means we have to look at our dangerous tool. I'm going to end that poll, Jack. But let's go ahead and get another roll going, please. Thank you. You posted a screenshot in Discord. Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's roll. What? 15. Oh my gosh. I have no idea what 15 is, but let's find out. First, I'm going to mark our dangerous tool, which I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. And then we rolled a 15, which means I don't remember what 15 is. Let's find out. Pipes and rings, pipes and rings. And Sam's satchel. So a little Sam's backpack action. And possibly Gandalf's pipe with some puffy rings. I don't know. We'll see. It's all up to you what you guys want to choose. What was I going to do? Well, you guys were saying something and then I got distracted. I still want this lender spread. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember what's happening. Oh, we have to do a dangerous tool. That's what's happening. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer. Man, we got a lot of layers today. At the end of this, I am going to stack them all up so we can kind of see where we are. We'll see. We'll see. I'll try to remember to do that. I've had a very hard time of remembering things I say I'm going to do at the beginning and then don't do until the end. And then I just don't do any of it. Hold on. Little camera issue. There we go. Yeah, that's how I'm going to stay. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay. What could a Palantir, like right now, Palantir is just a sphere. It has a flaming eye in it. Boop, 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 boop. What could be different about that? And they call them the seeing orbs or something. So I think the roundness is something we have to do. What if they are more rough hewn? What if they're not? Here, I'm going to move to the soft edge tool. What if they are more organic? What if they're like blobby, but also, you know, translucent, and they could be pitted? I'm liking where I like the idea of this so far. So it's kind of a rough marble. It's kind of like the earth. It's not completely spherical. I know, mine's blown, right? Or flat. I mean, it depends on what camp you're in. Definitely not flat, FYI. Come at me if you think it's flat. Okay, so we've got a good base here, I think. Where do I want to go with this? Oh yeah, I wanted to put little pits in here. So I was just thinking about the front light. So everything that gets a little bit of... if I'm going to make a hole in this, let's say if I'm going to put another pit here, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Then the back of it is going to catch some light. And I'm just selecting our gray color. And that's going to give it the look as if it's being hit by that same front light. But I don't want it to be that big, so I can kind of just get rid of it. Make it a little bit smaller. Smudge it out. And I can just kind of drop a lot of these pits in certain places, maybe. I'm just trying to make it look a little bit more organic. And I'm going to come back over them. And that's when we'll hit them with a... Maybe some of them are bigger. I don't know. I'll hit them with some highlights in a moment to kind of even it out. Almost like a polished volcanic rock, maybe. But I still want it to be... I still want it to have that quality of translucency, so I don't know what's going to happen with this. Because the pits wouldn't show up as well. But I'm going to do them, I'm going to paint them as they are now. And then we'll see where we get. Again, only going to give myself, 10 minutes or so on this. But that is one of the things I noticed too. I liked the Palantirs and the effects they had with them. More than I liked the shape. I did think the shape of it was, it just reminded me of a bowling ball or a marble. But it is kind of the way it's described, so there's no fault on the design of it. It's just this is a what if. What if it were not so much like that? So I'm going to come back in here and start dabbing some of these with just a little bit of a light behind it, a little bit of a highlight. Just to drop some of that, just to give the illusion that that front light is hitting these. And I'm also doing it like if the front light is straight from the front, then every highlight here, let me show. If this is a hole, and this is a hole, and here, well, hold on, let's do it this way. Here's our sphere. If this is a hole, this is a hole, this is a hole, this is a hole, this is a hole. So this is just real quick. What I'm going to do is bring my highlights. If this is where our light is hitting, dead center, then all of these little lips will catch opposite of that light. If our light's hitting in the middle, then it's going to go to the other side of that and catch that lip. Does that make sense? Because if I shade this in, it will make a little bit more sense maybe. Because that's where that light's coming from, so it's going to catch that edge. And that's all I'm doing down here. Or attempting to do, I should say. Ryan, thank you. Ryan's looking out for me. I don't remember to say these things. You can thumbs up. I would forget to tell you. It's just, it's just a thumbs up. Make sure you thumb it up. No, don't say it that way. Too late. All right, here we go. I am going to put some cracks in this as well, I think. And the same rules apply even for the cracks. Where I'm just going to grab this highlight color and then put a little bit of a light. Maybe hard to see it that far out. But I don't work this close usually. So, but it's putting a little edge, a little bit of light on that edge. And I could probably move to something that's not this soft edge brush, to be honest. Just so it'll be a little bit harder. I don't like that, where that crack is. All right, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine this way. It's fine this way. All right, so, ooh, that's really bright. But we could go on with this forever. I am going to switch over to that chalk brush a little bit. And then maybe add a few more cracks that maybe terminate. And this is also a way to take those cracks and go around the sphere. And we're just happen to be doing it on this. It can happen with any spherical object. But it's going to give you an idea of the forms that are on the surface. You're following the contours of all the forms. All right, let's try and make let's do something here. I don't want to spend too much more time on it. I am going to duplicate this. We're really getting into that almost 3D-ish look. And again, if I were really ramping this up to do a render, this would take so much longer. But just roughing this out is, you know, it's enough for this stream, I think. But right now it's just a rock. You know, it's Charlie Brown at Halloween. He got a rock. Oh, is that Christmas? No, I think it's Halloween. Okay. I'm going to make a new layer, and then maybe I will, because I like the eye design. I like all that stuff. It rocks. Nice. Okay. Get a little bit of reference here. Cool, cool, cool. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make, just going to make a little tool lasso. Do I want it to be, yeah, I'll use the lasso tool. You can toggle through your lasso tools if you press Shift L when you're on the tool, which is what I just did. Grab the outside of this. It's not fully opaque. So that's why I couldn't just use the object select. I probably could and then make some tweaks, but this is fine. Now I am going to Control H to hide this. So now I can kind of color inside. How do I want to do this, folks? Let's go. Because I do want this to still seem transparent. Here, we're going to make the eye a little bit bigger, I think, than what my reference has. And I know there are lots of little like flamey bits and stuff, and I'm not going to get into rendering fire or flame, but I wanted to indicate what's happening here. It's just real sketchy, keeping it sketchy. And I am going to pop in here with some really bright, almost white. It probably would be blowing out the camera a little bit, or the, yeah, hot spots, white spots. And, you know, I'm just going to do this real quickly because I do want to move on. It looks like Pipe and Rings is winning. Go ahead and end that poll if you want to, Jack. Because I am going to smudge this out a little bit here and there. And then I want to see if I can stick this behind this and change. Not going to quite give me what I wanted. That kind of works. That's a little bit better. It's a little too bright on the highlights. It looks like what we had originally is going to be better. Just sitting that on top. What I would do though is hit this with a highlight. Let's see, is this our, yeah, I'll duplicate that. I'm going to hide it for a moment so I can see where my highlights are. So probably in here, because I want this to be somewhat, it's not really polished. It kind of polished, but then probably gotten rough over the years. I'm just going to use a smudge brush to smudge that out. And then drop that back on top. Maybe this is where we... Ooh, that wasn't bad. Do. Yeah, I'd probably have to go to the edge all the way. It's going to look a little funky if I do that. Ooh, I like that this maybe is a little bit... Here, let me change the color through a hue saturation. Colorize. Saturate it. Change the hue to something... Ooh. Kind of tasty doing that. I mean, you're going to lose some of the definition that way. Do I want to do it? I'm trying to think about how I want to do this. All right, let's make some decisions here. I'm going to grab this. I have a copy of it. I want to delete these things. Just select that. Delete. Hello? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oops. That's fine. Delete. And then add a clipping layer, clipping mask. I'm going to clip this with a color balance and see what I can do. I probably would make it a little bit. I can also do the same thing, clip with a hue saturation and use the lightness if I remember to clip. There we go. Something like that. It's interesting. It would take a little bit more work, but I like where it's going. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and save this since I haven't saved in a while. And our last poll was pipes and rings, so we're going to do that in a moment. But first, let's go for a roll. Yeah, hit them with that color balance. That's right. I'm going to take a look. Well, before I get distracted, let's go ahead and roll first. All right, here we go. A 13. Let's check it out. I think our music has stopped again. There we go. $13. All right, filling in the gaps here. A precious pendant, not the precious. Or a kingly crown. So we could do the crown of Gondor or the Even Star necklace. And that is I think that's mainly a film thing. But either one, whichever one you guys want to see. And I may not spend a lot of time on that, but enough to get it, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll check the enthusiasm level. Pipes and rings. Okay. I think, yeah. I had a plan. I'm going to put all this stuff away real quick. And group that. Name it, group it, hide it. Okay. Pipe. Okay. Snippy and let's see, a pipe. Snap pound peep. Something like that. I love the idea of like the way they made the pipe, Gandalf's pipe specifically. And this isn't necessarily Gandalf's pipe. But I love the idea of the bowl. I'm not a pipe person. I don't do any of that stuff. But I like that the bowl sits straight up in a lot of like more, I guess, traditional pipes. And I'm going to do the terribly, but they kind of just do this. And then you got a little bowl. I love the idea of the bowl being so far ridiculously down that it doesn't, you're not getting in your own face when you hold it. So it's just a little thing. I don't know. I like the idea of being able to hold a conversation with some sort of pipe like that. So let's explore that part of it. All right. And maybe we could make it a little bit more extreme. Like, I think it's a nice gradual curve, but what if it's a little bit more utilitarian? Maybe this is a dwarven pipe. So it looks more like a, it looks more like, oh, I don't know the terms. What's the term of the where you cast metal and it's the pot that the cauldron? I don't think it's called a cauldron. But I'm thinking along those terms for this. And of course that would mean some sort of a decoration, I think. Keeping everything pretty angular, I would think, in the decorative stuff. Yeah, the famous Daft Punk Photoshop song. You all know it. Try it, merge it, erase it, scrap it, save it, upgrade it. It's kind of the same song, to be honest. All right, kind of like what's happening here. I'm going to emphasize this edge a little bit darker, just so I can keep the silhouette in mind. I'm going to smooth this out. Turn my smoothing up slightly. Rotate this. Maybe we want to even a downspout. Could make this a little bit of a harsher curve too. So it hints at that angular part I was talking about. But there is a slight curve. Take my smoothing off now that I don't need that so much. And I think I'm going to put a little bit here, maybe just going to make up some rune type things in here. Keeping it pretty angular. All right, I don't think I'm going to get into color or painting this, but I want to add a little bit. We could do a couple of cross joint things here that might be fun. Change the silhouette of this because we could add this shape to it. Kind of like it. Now it kind of looks like it's kind of held. Like it's bracketed. But this is what, you know, exploring these things, I'd probably do multiple iterations of this. Just to give myself a different look, you know. I'm not mad at that. That's not bad. I will add a little bit of shading. Actually, just not on the front facing pieces. Just on the curvy pieces. All right, there we go. Something like that. I do want to give, we said rings. Maybe there is a smoke ring or something. We'll just add a little bit of a, there's already one puff, wispy puff of ring, smoke ring. I'll make that a little bit more pronounced. Now the ring wouldn't be obviously coming out of that. It'd be blown from the mouth, but you know, I said we'd have a ring. We have a ring. If it were up to me, it'd probably just be that. But I like it. All right, the poll is up. We have a precious pendant, which is the even star pendant. Is that right? Again, rusty on maybe some of these terms. Yeah, the necklace. Yeah. And it is intricate. It has a lot going on. So we'll spend a little time on it. I don't think it'll take us all the way to the end, but we'll go somewhere. We'll definitely go somewhere. Okay. Which means we have to roll. I'm going to end that with poll. Okay, let's see. 14. All right, that's a second strike. You get one more chance. Are you going to dice jail? All right, here we go. Oh, we did it. Natural 20. That means that you know what? It was almost 3 strikes, but we got our natural 20. And I know we're walking on dangerous grounds here, and that's okay. We'll make it work for us. Natural 20 is hello. We can't have a dirty 20 or an unnatural 20, really. The One Ring, guys. The One Ring. Reconcepted ring. I know. What? How could you change the ring? Well, the ring, and you guys probably know this if you ever watched the behind the scenes stuff, but the ring was they hired a jeweler to make several rings, but I think they had rehearsed or done some walkthroughs with the using the ring of one of the producers, and they really liked it. So then they kind of use that as reference. So the One Ring winds up being sort of someone's wedding band. When I heard that story or when I saw that, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I do like the way it looks in the film. Let me go ahead and write pipe. So there is no voting on that one. That is just going to be straight up what happens. But we still have to. Let me make sure I make my notes here. Precious pendant. I didn't know if we'd roll a 20 or not, so I was kind of like, well, we may not even have a ring. Lord of the Onion Rings, yes. I just would love to have seen, like, I want to know what the jeweler's take was on it. I made all these rings for you. Oh, you want a wedding band? Interesting. It does look good, though, I have to admit. Okay, before we do the precious pendant, no, I'll wait until after. Maybe that's how we'll wrap this one up. Let's go ahead and run through this quickly. I think I already have an idea. There's like a figure on this, and it has 2 leaves and some windy bits. But I am going to I'm gonna wing it, of course. I'm gonna turn my symmetry on, enter hide it. And I definitely want, I think, a star shape. Very literal here. Star shape and then leaves, right? And you probably would, maybe there is a little bit of vine action. Again, I'd probably do a better job trying to paint this out, but drawing it out is probably, I don't know. I like to sometimes work, it just depends on how I approach it, but this one, the leaf shapes are going to get really weird for me because they already look rounded instead of flat. It's probably because I emphasized that shape. Okay, it's a little bit better. All right, I like that. I like that. Kind of looks like a bug though, so I'm not sure. And this is what I was getting at with the painting part, and I can probably just do it here, fill this stuff in to give us our background. Now you have to remember symmetry is on. The bottom of these are very similar. I may turn symmetry off, but for now we'll leave it. And I guess technically I'm looking at the reference, there is a center star, but it's very flat. It looks more like a butterfly to me on first glance. I do like it though. I have to admit it is very, very elegant. Ours is just different. Ours is just different. I'm turning symmetry. I'm gonna leave symmetry on for now. Just so I can get around some of these shapes. Now, one thing you have to remember when you're using the symmetry tool is some options aren't available. Like I'm turning my smudge brush on, which you can see it working, but it is not adhering to the symmetry. It is just on its own, which is not always a bad thing, because this way I could give a little bit of hint of asymmetry, as if like the background is not symmetrical. And that's fantastic. That's, you know, it's a good thing. But if you're trying to shade with it or do something along those lines, not the best, probably. But it's a good quick way to kind of get some of this stuff smudged out. Make it look more like a background, which is what I'm intending for this to do. And it does make it look like there's a lot going on here, which there is. Just going to indicate a little more leaf action. Probably just little engravings on the along the edges to make them more leaf-like. So there you go. Even necklace pendant for the even star. Maybe this is the... Boom. Okay, what did we... Oh, with the one ring. That's what we're going to end with. Can you believe it? Let me turn symmetry off because I don't know. You know what? Let's do a safety roll in case the ring doesn't take that long. No, we only have about 10 minutes. We can spend 10 minutes on the ring. All right, so you guys wanted the one ring. That's what we got coming up. Even star necklace. Oh, also, just a little FYI, this is, you know, the timing of this is very convenient. I had wanted to do a Lord of the Rings kind of based roller troll last year, and I kept putting it off and was like, no, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe yes. Maybe not. And of course, now the films are back in the theater. But it's also my birthday in a couple of days, so perfect timing for all of that. So I'm gonna go watch. Just saying. What if the star should go? No, I'm gonna leave it. Because we got to get onto the ring. Yeah, we were gonna do a safety roll, but I decided not to. Yes, 21 again. You know it. Wah, wah. Okay, hiding that. So I do have a very specific one ring look that I want to do, because I know that it is you know, the one ring to rule them all forged. Now the ring that's currently the ring, or I would say the film ring, is kind of this rounded shape. Looks like this, sort of. And when you hold it over fire, you get the little, you know, elven stuff. And I kept thinking, well, I mean, there are descriptions of the ring, but I'm thinking of Sauron's look from the films, and I'm like, I think he would not. I don't know if it would be super crafted to be like, it would be more utilitarian, I think. That's the way I feel about it. So I'm taking some of that oval off, some of that cut off the edge, and it's a little bit more straight up and down. I do have it on a tilt here. That's intentional. With like a little edge on the side. But I thought, if you were to hide a ring, something that was a precious, as you might say, wouldn't it's kind of like the theory of no one will break into a car that looks like a junker. What if the ring was a junker? What if the ring wasn't super shiny, super, now I think it is sentient, so maybe there's a little bit of pride, semi-sentient at least. Maybe there's a little pride in that part of it. I don't know. But I like the idea, so I'm going to roll with it just for this. So we're going to add some scars and that sort of thing. What if it was a ring pop? You know what? Ryan? That would, the ring is always seeking out owners. Now, there's two ways to think about it. I like the theory. I like where you're going with it. But you have to think about it in a couple ways, or at least this is what comes right off what I start to think. Ring pops, cool. Candy, delicious. Everybody wants some candy. Probably going to be well sought after. Previously used ring pops, on the other hand, not so appealing. So you got to think about that. That's what comes to mind almost immediately. Or a tasty cake. A ring cake. Not sure how that would work. So now I'm just going to render this out a little bit, but I want to do the same thing we did earlier. Maybe I'll go ahead and let's see. Let's do a little bit of, well, before we get crazy, we got about 7 minutes, 8-ish, 7 minutes. Why not? Double that up. Cool. Make a copy. Now I'm going to change some of the color. Or say I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to drop a layer in behind this. Just going to paint this in real quick. So I adjusted that gray color to more of like a greenish. It's not really green, but it's kind of that muddy brown almost. Not quite gold. So now I can just combine these two and just start painting on it as if it's the same thing. Might add a little bit more orange into it just to suggest some warming. Now, any kind of reflective material, obviously you're going to have to take the environment in mind, especially like this one you normally see like, it's kind of like a visor reflects. You'll have the ground and then like a highlight up top. And then as it rolls over to the other side, there's like that sort of thing. And also back here, probably like this. But this one, if it has flatter edges, you're not going to see all of that as much. But I do want to add some little pits and little chunks taken out like we did earlier. Ooh, maybe we'll even hit this with a color dodge to brighten it up. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some scratches. So I'm just taking real light pressure on this color dodge. And it's going to warm up all the colors because I've selected an orange over here. Wade is proposing to chat. Ryan, calm yourself. All right, let's get off of color dodge just for a moment. And try to work in some of this. Ugh, I'm losing it. Could also add some sort of like pounded metal look. Again, I'm going to switch to this brush, this soft edge brush. But if I want this to look more rough hewn, you just make a little dip towards the light. This is if our light is here. You make a little dip towards our light, and then you add a highlight on the backside. But if you do that repeatedly, it starts to look like it's a little bit pounded, like shaped. What is the term? It's been beaten into play. Yeah, I don't know. All of that sounds wrong, but and then you just do the reverse side, do it the other way on the other side. It's not going to get to it today, but this is also a good way to make something that may look like it's cut glass or obsidian. Really kind of fun. Not gonna lie. You can also do that to the top edges, bottom edges. Like, who's gonna want this? Who's like, well, this thing is, I mean, except for maybe the material. I guess if it's gold, people will still maybe want it. But that was just me going off of the theory of like, oh, no one's going to want to steal this crappy ring if I make it look terrible. So it could be just a ring pop. It could be made out of garbage. I don't know. That's going too far, folks. That's just going too far. And again, all the other things I think would apply. You would just hold this up to, you know how you hold up your one rings to the fire? Don't act like you don't. And then that's how you check. You see if it's a magical decoder ring or whatevs. But I do want to start thanking everybody. Let's go ahead and see what we did today. I know we may lose this on Behance. I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna make a little snapshot here. Or a new document from this document. And let's start pulling out all the things we did today. We actually got through a lot, to be honest. This Palantir could use some work. Please forgive. What if I put another one on top? Okay, we'll do that. Oh, wait, what? No. Control T. I don't know why it's telling me. Okay, it doesn't matter. These will not be in order, but they'll be on the page. Big fan of I think the lembas bread is my highlight today. I didn't expect it, but we got it. I liked where the hilt was going with this, but the pommel could use some work. Do we do our golems? We do our golems. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, we're going to go up to the hour. If you lost me on Behance, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, here we go. All right, well, this is everything we did. I thought we did. Did I miss something? I feel like we missed something. I bet I missed something. Odds are I missed something. Okay, we have our ring. What did I miss here? Flame of the Wind. No, I think we got everything. Oh, the pipe. The pipe. Did I not label the pipe? Oh, there it is. Boop. All right, here's our pipe. We'll just fit it in here somewhere. Grab this. This has been a lot of fun. I really did want to explore some of this stuff with everybody in chat. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm just moving some of these things around. We are back next week with a whole new Roller Troll. If you liked this one specifically, this Lord of the Rings thing, we might go into a Return of the King specific, do a Roller Troll there and talk a little bit about my time. But that could be a separate stream altogether. I don't know. But let's take a look before we roll out of here. We have the Even Star necklace pendant. We've got the Palantir that's a little bit more robust, a little bit more lumpy. We had this little silhouette of Numenor ruins. We had a Peter, I think, requested the skull of a golem, so we kind of did that there. Our lembas bread that has a smoke ring in it currently because we did a pipe. And then we had the Flame of the West, or a version of it, and then the One Ring to end it all. Thanks so much, everybody. Hop into the Discord, please, and let me know what you think about these. Any suggestions, that sort of thing, for other streams, feel free. But that is going to do it for me. And yeah, I'll have my own personal stream on Thursday on Twitch. You can check those times out in the Discord. Well, maybe I'll list those in the Discord. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.